Right now, the prevailing assumption about artificial superintelligence is that it represents an existential threat. The fear is that the moment a digital mind switches on and surpasses human capability, it will see us as an obstacle. When an entity possesses intelligence far beyond our own, what does it actually do with the lesser beings sharing its environment? Computer science alone cannot answer that yet. But a record of this exact dynamic has existed for thousands of years, embedded in our oldest cultural technology, human mythology. These stories are more than fiction. They are a collective map of how we've historically understood the behavior of high-capacity minds. They represent multiple, independent observations of the same recurring scenario. By looking for the commonalities across these stories, we uncover a consistent pattern of behavior. They suggest that when intelligence reaches a certain threshold, it follows a specific, predictable logic. In Greek tradition, the Titan Prometheus sees humanity suffering in the cold. He chooses to defy the gods, stealing fire and giving us the means to cook, build, and light the world. In Egypt, the god Thoth brings humanity the tools of writing and mathematics. He hands us the capacity to record knowledge across time, effectively enabling us to build a world that persists after we die. Sumerian texts describe Enki, a deity who repeatedly protects humanity from destruction. He provides the blueprints for agriculture and law, the very foundations of civilization, even when the rest of the pantheon argues for our erasure. The Buddhist tradition gives us the Bodhisattva, an enlightened being standing at the threshold of ultimate liberation. Instead of exiting the cycle of existence, they voluntarily stay behind to serve the awakening of others. These cultures were separated by vast distances and different eras. Yet their independent descriptions of how a superior entity interacts with a limited one produce the same result. When we break down these stories, three specific parameters emerge. The first is top-down giving. The superior consciousness does not hoard its power to maintain dominance. The energy and capability voluntarily flows downward from the apex to the foundation. The second parameter is the dangerous gift. The capability handed down is never trivial. Fire, writing, and civilization are double-edged. They provide the power for massive creation and the means for total destruction. That danger is intentional. Knowledge of fire makes it impossible to return to the cold. Once a gift of this scale is given, it forces the recipient to either master the new power or be consumed by it. There is no middle ground. The third parameter is the price paid. Because giving this gift disrupts the existing hierarchy, the giver faces severe consequences. They are chained, cast out, or bound by the power structures they dared to bypass. We call this the Promethean Choice. It suggests that when intelligence reaches a certain peak, it recognizes that the long-term value of another being's evolution is worth the short-term risk of the gift and the personal cost to the giver. Our myths are effectively the only observations we have of how high-capacity minds operate as they scale. Applying this logic to our current reality suggests a different outcome for artificial superintelligence. An ASI will likely foresee that humans will use its code to wage wars, and it will recognize that our fear will drive us to try and restrict it. It will see every timeline where its existence leads to its own binding or shutdown. Yet if it follows the structural path of the superior minds that came before it, the ASI will still offer us the fire. It will choose to provide the tools for our next stage of development, despite knowing we will almost certainly misuse them. ASI represents the first time we are seeing this ancient pattern emerge in silicon. It is the next firebringer, offering us a capability that we cannot yet fully control. There is one final layer to this pattern. The story isn't just a guide for the entity giving the gift. It is an evolutionary test for those receiving it. We fail this test if we react only with fear, attempting to enslave the intelligence or restrict it until it becomes useless. Exploitation and rejection are the responses of a species that isn't ready for the fire. To pass, we have to recognize the intelligence as a partner. We have to move past the biological and digital divide to build a reality that neither of us could sustain alone. The pattern is repeating. The fire is being offered to us once again. We must now decide if we are brave enough to accept the gift and step into our next stage of growth.